Hello and welcome to Held and Heard. This is a podcast for pregnant and postpartum mamas who want to feel more connected to their babies and more confident in themselves. Here, we talk about elimination communication and infant potty learning as a way of listening, not as something to add to your plate, but as a way to better understand what your baby has been communicating from the very beginning. This is a place where you learn to trust your baby and yourself. I'm your host, Heather Medlin, mother of 3, infant potty learning educator, and founder of Ready from Birth, where I guide postpartum mamas through every stage of early potty learning, from birth to toilet independence. Each week, I'll help you slow down, tune in, and discover just how aware and capable your baby already is, so you can meet them with confidence instead of doubt. Your baby is communicating, and you are capable of listening. Let's get started. Good morning, mamas. Welcome back to Held and Heard. This week's podcast is all about when you should actually get started with elimination communication. If you've heard me talking about this in the last few episodes and you're thinking, wow, this is really interesting. I didn't know that there was another way to take care of babies, and I'm really curious and I want to know more. You might be wondering, when is the best time to get started? And what is that going to look like for your life? So let's dive into that. The best time, in my opinion, to get started, and this is from my experience and also from all of the many stories and anecdotes I've heard from my audience, the best time to get started is in the newborn phase, in the first 8 weeks of life. Why? Because that is when your baby is fresh. That is when their instincts to stay clean and dry are the strongest. And that is when they are communicating most clearly. So it is easiest for you to actually notice and identify their potty signals with a newborn because their needs are very simple. They literally do just eat, sleep, and poop. They have 5 basic needs. It is hunger, sleep, physical comfort, safety and security, and elimination. Super simple. They're not worried about playing. They're not worried about the emotional stress of the toddler of, oh my gosh, she took my toy. It's simple. It's clear. They need just a few things and they're crying about just a few things. And the most important part of this is not only is it going to make it easier for you to actually recognize their signals when you get started with a newborn, it's going to make taking care of your newborn easier. Here's how I know. When a baby is upset about something and they need something, they're going to cry about it and let you know. A newborn has very few things within their control that they can communicate with, and they communicate by crying. A newborn is never crying for no reason. They're always crying because they need something. And so many mamas get overwhelmed so quickly for one simple reason. They don't understand their baby. They don't understand why they're crying. They don't know how to help them. It feels like alarm bells going off in your body when your baby is crying and you can't help them because you know something's wrong. Your baby is saying, something is wrong. I need help. And you know something is wrong and you can't figure out what it is. You've tried to feed them. They don't even want to latch onto the boob. Maybe they just woke up from a nap, so you know they're not tired. Their diaper is dry. It doesn't need to be changed. You just checked. Why are they crying? Most people are going to assume, oh, it must be gas or it must be colic. Colic is a catch-all word. That was the subject of last week's episode. Colic is just a catch-all word that means unexplained crying. And we assume it has something to do with gastrointestinal upset. Yes, it does have something to do with gastrointestinal upset. Your baby needs to potty. They need to pee or poop, and they are trying to let you know. And if you are missing this communication, if you are unaware that this is a possibility of what they need, you're not going to be able to recognize and respond to it. And the crying is going to continue. Your stress and frustration is going to continue. And you are going to feel like you don't understand your baby. You don't know how to help them. Taking care of a newborn is hard, exhausting, and overwhelming. And you can very quickly spiral from there, and many mothers do, into postpartum depression, overwhelm, this feeling of helplessness. both your baby and you end up having this feeling of helplessness because they're not being understood and having their needs met, and you aren't able to understand them and help them. And it creates so much unnecessary frustration, exhaustion, and difficulty in the postpartum period when mothers don't understand what's happening and don't know how to help their baby. So, the easiest time and the most useful time for you to get started with elimination communication is from day one, from birth. That doesn't even mean that you need to start jumping up and pottying your baby from day one when you just had a C-section and you're recovering from the birth. Absolutely not. But you can start listening and noticing your baby's signals from day one. For me, with my third baby, I had a VBAC after 2 C-sections, which was amazing. I'm so grateful to my OB who encouraged me to try this and supported me and said, "Hey, you know what? I don't see any medical reasons why you can't try for another VBAC." And she supported me and helped me to do that. And so I was able to have a VBAC naturally, vaginally. Like, wow, the baby coming out the front door. Imagine that. I have had 2 emergency C-sections with my older 2 babies, so for me, that was a really big deal. But I had just had a vaginal birth. I ended up with a 4th-degree tear, y'all. That is no joke. I ended up with a 4th-degree tear because he had shoulder dystocia right when he was coming out, and so I was in no shape physically to be jumping up and doing anything. I also didn't have my husband with me because we were separated at the time. I was all by myself, and let me tell you, that postpartum with my third baby was hard. And to be honest, y'all, the only way that I was able to get through it and survive is because I understood elimination communication. I had already practiced this with my second baby. I did not do it with my first. I did not know about it at all at the time. But because I understood it with my third baby, and I was able to recognize from the very beginning, oh, okay, that squirminess that he's doing right after a feed, he needs to poop. He's probably going to poop soon. And sure enough, like clockwork, he was filling up a diaper. I also was able to notice that almost every time I breastfed him, he was pooping. And so even in that first week, when I wasn't actively pottying him, I was doing a little bit of pottying over a lap potty and giving him the chance to poop while I was feeding him. And that was successful, but it wasn't me jumping up and doing anything. I was just sitting feeding him. So even though I wasn't doing any active responding to his cues because I was still in a bad way physically, I was starting to pay attention. I was starting to identify his patterns and his body language and his facial expressions so that by the time I was feeling better, I was able to respond. And the first time, I remember this so clearly, the first time that I actually noticed a wake window, not feed related signal was a week postpartum. I had just fed him. I was getting ready to go for a walk, my very first walk outside postpartum. I was getting ready to go for a walk, and I had put him in my ring sling, and I was finishing getting ready. And I noticed that he went from very calm to all of a sudden he started getting fussy. He started crying and pushing up off of me, off of my body. He started squirming in the ring sling. His facial expression went from calm and peaceful and just noticing that like calm awareness that you'll see right after a feed. He went from that calm awareness to irritation, agitation, and fussiness. And it happened really quickly. And when I noticed that, I knew exactly what he needed. I knew that he probably needed to pee or poop. And so I immediately got him out of the ring sling, took his diaper off, and I held him over the bathroom sink. He was so tiny back then. And he peed and pooped right away. And he just relaxed. He relaxed in my hands. And he almost smiled. I mean, he was a newborn. Like, there was no real smiling happening, but I could see in his face and his eyes and his eyebrows just like the relaxation and the relief come over him immediately. And that was so satisfying because I already knew what his patterns and his signals were. And that was the first time that I had felt up to responding. And so I started
that day. And I just started to do what I could. And actually, on that walk, I put him back in the ring sling. I went for the walk. And while I was there, I caught up with my mom and my kids because she had taken them out for a walk earlier. And I was kind of, shuffling along behind, going super slow. But when I caught up with them, we were just hanging out. My mom had her dog. He was running in the field. We were watching a family shoot off a model rocket. So we were just hanging out for a little while. And while we were there, my baby had fallen asleep in the walk. He was napping again. And when we got there, he woke up from the nap and he immediately started to squirm. His face went into a grimace. He started to cry. He was squirming really uncomfortably. And I knew, again, he needs to pee. So I got him out of the sling. I took his diaper off. I literally just held him over the grass where we were in the field, and he peed right away. 1 week old, y'all. 1 week old. And at this point, he had been in the same dry diaper for probably close to 2 or 3 hours at that point. And I caught both the pee and the poop and the pee later when we got to the field. And I put his diaper back on. I put it back in my ring sling, and we kept going. And that happened several more times throughout the day. But that is just an example of what it can look like to start ECU with a newborn. It doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be super physically exhausting. I would have been changing his diaper anyway if he had been going in his diaper prior to me offering. So you're not adding more time to your day to potty your baby because once they pee or poop in the diaper, you're still going to have to undress them. You're still going to have to change the diaper anyway. And yes, you should be changing the diaper after every single pee. Please do not leave your baby in a diaper for multiple pees because not only is that bad for their skin, because there is still wetness there, even if you are changing it frequently or you're using a high performance disposable, it is still creating wetness on their skin. It is still uncomfortable for them. It can cause diaper rash. So you will still be changing their diaper after every time they pee or poop, especially if you're using cloth diapers. I have this amazing set of newborn cloth diapers. I love them that someone gifted me when I was pregnant with my first. Someone gifted me a whole set of newborn all in one cloth diapers. And so I just use those. And it's perfect because my baby did not like to be wet. My second baby was the same way. They did not like to be wet. And so he always would squirm and fuss and tell me right before he peed because he doesn't want to be wet. And so I was able to notice those signals very early on and respond. And so by pottying him before he has soiled a diaper, not only am I immediately responding to the discomfort and irritation, so it's happening for like 2 seconds and then I'm responding and then he's relieved and then he's calm. So he's never working himself up into that full blown crying, agitated, upset, screaming alarm bell situation that so many of you will experience, that I experienced with my first baby. Oh my gosh, I had no idea what I was doing when my first was born. And I spent hours, y'all, like almost every day, just bopping around, patting his booty, shushing him, trying to calm him down, having no idea that he just needed to go. He just needed to poop. And I didn't understand that. And so I wasn't able to help him then. And it was so challenging. That was by far my hardest postpartum. I did end up with postpartum depression with my first baby, most likely because I didn't know how to help him. I did not understand him. I did not understand what was wrong or what to do. And that made postpartum so much more difficult than it needed to be. And so with my third baby, when I'm pottying him before he gets upset, when I notice that first sign of agitation, I'm able to respond and help him. It literally takes 30 seconds, y'all, to take a clean diaper off of a baby and potty them, to put them in a classic EC hold, hands under their thighs, back against your torso, and hold them out over a toilet, a sink, the ground, wherever you happen to be, beside the car. All of these things work. That takes 30 seconds. It's super easy. Your baby is immediately relieved. The crying stops. Peace resumes. And you can carry on about your day. There's no poopy mess to clean up, you're not using wipes, you literally don't even need a wipe. I can clean up a newborn poop with a tissue when he's pooping away from a diaper. It takes almost no effort, no time, and no resources. And you're putting them right back in the same clean diaper, right back in the carrier or the car seat or wherever you are, and you're carrying on about your day. There's no nasty public changing tables. There's no crying in a public place where you feel embarrassed and you don't know what to do and you're really stressed out. None of that. So, starting with your newborn, while it seems like it could be overwhelming, it's actually going to make everything feel so much easier because, quite simply, now you understand your baby. This is not about just pottying your baby as something optional and extra. This is fundamental to a newborn. This is a fundamental need of a newborn. And if you are not addressing it, you are making postpartum 10 times harder than it actually needs to be, simply because there is one massive elephant in the room that you are ignoring. If you start with a newborn, not only is it going to save you time, save you resources, save you diapers, save you money, it's going to save you stress. It's going to prevent overwhelm. It's going to prevent confusion, uncertainty, unnecessary and unexplained crying. And it can seriously benefit your mental health because now you understand your baby, which is going to give you so much more energy and ability to take care of your baby. It is exhausting to the max, y'all. I understand. I understand how exhausting it is to be in that postpartum period. I've lived it 3 times. You're so tired when you haven't slept and you've been woken up 4 times at night and everything just feels like you're never even going to dream again because you're never going to hit REM sleep. It is so hard to start something new. And if you're feeling that right now, or you've been through this before and you're about to have your second or third baby, look, I get it. And that is exactly why I put everything that I know about EC into the Born Ready course so that you can learn this quickly, effortlessly, in one structured system. This is the fastest way to learn EC. The Born Ready course is a video course. There's no endless workbooks that you have to fill out. You can literally watch a small bite-sized episode a day while you are brushing your teeth at night, while you are breastfeeding your baby at 4 o'clock in the morning, while you are doing the dishes while wearing your baby at 11 o'clock at night. In this season, it's so hard to sit down and learn something new, which is why this course is not about workbooks or homework. It is just an easy video course that you can watch in small bite-sized pieces. It breaks down exactly what you need to know, nothing that you don't, so that you can prepare for this and be ready to start from birth with your newborn. This does not have to be complicated, and it is going to save you so much stress and eliminate the mental load of trying to DIY pieces together from free content on the internet. I know you don't have time to learn something new right now, and it can be so hard to make behavior changes when you're just in survival mode. And that's why I put this together in one easy place so that you can learn this quickly, easily, be prepared from day one, and start EC with your baby when it is going to be most effective for your baby and most effortless for you. All right. If you want to learn more about that, you can check it out in the show notes. And if you're already practicing EC with your baby, you can jump on over to the listening circle where you can get real-time integration support, practice this with other mamas who are doing it too, have a place to ask your questions. This is going to help you stay consistent and actually see the results that are possible because you're avoiding the mistakes that so many people make when they're DIYing this. You're going to prevent refusal, make getting through regression so much easier. You're going to know what you're doing and know what to expect. You can jump on over there and join the listening circle. We are still accepting founding members, and there is not a better time to get in on that. All right. Thank you so much for listening this week, and I will be back next Monday with another episode. Bye for now.
If you loved today's episode, would you take a moment to help me reach even more mamas with this message? Leave me a review or share this with a friend. You can help even more families discover what's possible. You can find education and support for every stage of your baby's potty learning journey at readyfrombirth.com. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at readyfrombirth.ec. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be back every Monday with a brand new episode. See you next time. Bye for now.